Hello friends, welcome to another reading vlog. In this one, I am working hard to finish my thesis and try to battle a reading slump before the Secret Santa with my book club. It all started on December the 10th, the deadline for my thesis draft. I wanted my draft as finished as possible so I could get the most useful feedback, so I was working hard all day, frantically trying to get everything finished. I just want to be done with it. And then, at 1:45 I hate this. Okay. Sentence. It's done. It's done. It's done. I finished pretty much everything. The only thing that wasn't finished was my bibliography and the citations. They were still kind of messy, but everything else was done. I wrote 10,000 words. I know that for some fields that's probably like a normal essay, but for my field I've never written anything that was 10,000 words. And that came from my brain. So weird. If you've been following my vlogs, you know that I was working on the first draft of my thesis and I finally finished it yesterday. So now I have a few days off waiting for feedback. I'm gonna make use of that sweet, sweet free time. I don't know what I'm doing. Very nice. You might be wondering, Leonie, what have you been reading since the last vlog? Well, the answer is nothing. Here, I wanted to start The Silvered Serpents and I read like 5 pages, but I just cannot get myself to sit down and read when I was working on my thesis, and I haven't continued that book, so who knows what will happen this weekend, if I'll get to read something or not. I'm gonna try at least.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
I'm just gonna tinker on this for a little bit, and then I think I'm just gonna go into town. Okay, I wouldn't say this is my best makeup look, but I'm gonna go outside like this anyway. This is where the first signs of a reading slump started to creep in, and I was looking for ways to fight it. Alright guys, I'm actually on my way to my parents' house, and I know that I said that I was going to read The Silvered Serpents. I just can't get myself to read it. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if anyone else has this, but if I really like the first book in a series and then the second book comes out, I really want to love it, and I'm really scared that if I read it at the wrong moment, I'm not gonna love it as much as I could. And I started reading it last week, but then the final week of my thesis came around and I stopped reading completely because I was stressed, and now I'm kind of in a reading slump. But I'm just scared of reading this book because I'm scared that if I'm kind of in a slump, I'm not gonna love it as much as I do. Is this a problem other people have, or am I alone in this? Please let me know. So I am gonna take it with me just in case, but I'm also, this is gonna sound really weird, but I'm also gonna take with me, I have decided, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is like Russian literature. I've already read like 40 pages of it or something, but I have this new theory that I think sometimes if I'm in a slump with media, whether that is a reading slump or a watching slump, if I'm too tired to watch any kind of movie, usually the only thing that I can consume is like rom-coms, but sometimes I'm not even capable of getting into a rom-com, and then the only thing that I can actually watch is Black Mirror. I don't know why. It's for some reason when I'm at the point that even just something as simple and fun as a rom-com doesn't work, something as bleak and kind of like philosophical as Black Mirror does capture my attention. So I'm gonna try to find out if Crime and Punishment can do the same for me and somehow in a very weird way get me out of a reading slump. I don't know if it's gonna work, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, I'm gonna go to my parents now. Alright, update time. My attempt at having this book getting me out of a reading slump did not really work. I read like 20 pages and I haven't read a single thing from The Silvered Serpents. and I'm still not really reading. I am gonna go to the library right now. I don't really have a specific book in mind, but I'm just gonna see if there's like a wild card there. Some book that might potentially just, you know, get me out of that reading slump. So we'll see. That's good. And so I went in search of that unexpected library book to get me out of the reading slump. My library doesn't have the best selection of books that fit my taste, but that did not stop me. They had a Sherlock story, but I decided to pass on it. I also wanted to take Arch Nemesis by Marissa Meyer with me, but I realized just in time that that was not the first book in the series. After meticulously looking through all of the shelves, I found 2 books that I took home with me. I got the second book in the Winter Night trilogy called The Girl in the Tower, this is a Dutch translation of it, and the middle grade fantasy A Pinch of Magic. When I got home, I started reading The Girl in the Tower because I wanted to give this series a second chance, and if it didn't grip me, I would just DNF it. So this is the stack of books that I could be reading right now. Crime and Punishment, The Girl in the Tower, A Pinch of Magic, and The Silvered Serpents. Like, one of these has gotta be able to save me from my reading slump, right? Yesterday I read 30 pages of The Girl in the Tower and I'm still not cured from my reading slump. Disappointed and upset. I think the next thing that I'm gonna try to get out of my reading slump is that tonight, after working on my thesis, I'm just gonna turn off my phone and just sit and get a bunch of reading done so I'm really into the story, and then hopefully that's gonna make me want to keep reading. But speaking of my thesis, I got feedback. I haven't looked at like the detailed critique yet, but overall he was very positive and it seems like I don't have to change a lot of things, so I hope that means that it's kind of smooth sailing from now. The final deadline is the 24th of December, right before Christmas, so I still have like 8 or 9 days left. So of course I still have to work every day hard on my thesis, but then hopefully it won't drain as much energy, and then in the evenings I will have some energy and also just want for reading. So today just gonna work a little bit more on my thesis, and then tonight I'm gonna see if just like dedicating some time to reading can get me out of my reading slump. 3 days later. So I didn't do that. I think I am getting neck deep into this reading slump, and I feel like this book isn't really helping with that. Every time I pick up this book, my mind just goes everywhere except for the book. Let me just give you a little bit of history on this book. So at the beginning of this year, I read the first book in this series, The Bear and the Nightingale, and I was kind of disappointed by it. It didn't really work for me, even though this book is kind of supposed to be one of my favorite things, like very atmospheric, you know, takes place in Russia, fairy tale-esque. I should be loving those kind of books, and a lot of you guys told me that I should at least give the second book in the series a try, so that's why I decided to pick this one up anyway. But the same thing is happening as with the first book, and that is that I can't get through it. I tried listening to the audiobook, which usually makes it a lot easier for me to get through books, and even the audiobook, I just couldn't focus on it. The thing is just that I find this book boring, and it sounds really harsh, but it actually just means that, you know, it's completely on me. Doesn't mean that the book is bad or anything, it just means that I shouldn't be reading it. But I think trying to push myself to read this book is not gonna help my reading slump at all, so I'm gonna DNF this. And honestly, I don't know which of these other 3 books that I have right now is the best one to go with next. I'm still working on my thesis, so that's mostly what I'm gonna be doing today. I don't really know what book's gonna get me out of the reading slump. I'm gonna go to my parents this evening again. I'm going back again for like the holidays. I don't really know yet. I just really want to get out of the reading slump before the Secret Santa, which is in 5 days. I mentioned in my last video that there's a Secret Santa with the YA book club that I'm in, like in real life, and I'm gonna be receiving 2 books, and I've also given 2 books. I just want to be out of that reading slump when I receive those books, so I can read the books that I receive. Okay, now it's back to working on the thesis.
Hello friends, I am on a bit of a morning walk right now and I thought I would talk to you about my next attempt at getting out of my reading slump. So, what I did as I looked for another book that also had an audiobook because I just want to be able to, switch around a little bit. And I decided to pick up The Watchmaker of Filigree Street because that book is the only one of the books that I have with me right now that I also have an audiobook for on Storytel. A little side note is that the physical book is in English and the audiobook is in Dutch. But I still think it's gonna help me a lot if I can, switch between the audiobook and the physical book. So I've been going on my morning walk right now and I've been listening to the audiobook for The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, and I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. Like, it takes place in Victorian era London. There's a guy who finds this magical watch. There's a girl who's really into math. It has a big steampunk vibe, and I'm really into it. I'm really glad that I finally picked up this book. So hopefully, if I just listen to the audiobook some more while going on my walks, I can finally get out of the reading slump and finish a book.
At this point, it was Wednesday, the 23rd of December, 2 days before my final thesis deadline. So, before I showed you the books I received for Secret Santa, I had to put down the finishing touches on my thesis. I'd been working on it for so many weeks now that I was scared to finish it, afraid that I'd overlooked a mistake. There were so many thoughts of doubt racing through my brain, like, should I add this thing? It might give me some extra points, but if I do it wrong, it might make me lose points. Is it good enough as it is? But I just had to trust myself and hand in my thesis. And now we're here, and I finished my thesis a full day before deadline, which is very unlike me, but I hope that's a good sign. So now I think it would be fun to show you guys what I got for the Secret Santa. Not only did I receive 2 books, I also received a lot of really fun little knickknacks, little teas and candles and stuff, so that makes me really happy. But of course, you're all wondering what books I received. I'm really happy they were both books that I had on my little wish list. The first one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'm very happy with this. I don't really plan on reading this right now, but I know that this is a book that I want to read at some point in my life, so it's just nice to just have it on my shelf, on my TBR. So very happy with this one. And then the second one that they gave me is Fahrenheit 451. This is a book that has been on my TBR for a while because you may know that I really like other dystopians like 1984, Brave New World. This one's often named in the same sentence as all those other books, so I'm just curious to see, because I hear a lot of mixed opinions on this. Some people absolutely love it the same way they like the other dystopian books, but it's also kind of known for being the worst one out of the bunch. So it's only 150 pages, so I might actually get to reading this quite soon. But of course, the question is, did I beat my reading slump? I have been listening and reading to The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. No, I have not finished it yet. Yes, I know that it's the 24th of December and I haven't finished a single book this month. But the thing is, I do think I'm out of my reading slump, because not finishing a book or not reading very fast doesn't mean that you're in a reading slump. Like, the reading slump to me means that I'm just not enjoying anything that I pick up, but I am really enjoying this. Yes, I am going through it quite slowly, but honestly, who cares? If you don't yet follow me on my Instagram or my Twitter, my handle is @thebookleo everywhere. I've been having a lot of fun posting on my Instagram lately, so you should follow me if you want to see that. Let me know which books you plan on reading over the last days of the year. I'm gonna enjoy all my new books. Oh, wow, okay. The book did not agree with me, apparently. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon in another one. Goodbye.